I not only intellectually believe God is who he's revealed himself to be, but I also am willing to do something about it that could cost me. It could ultimately bring me the loss of my life, but I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to take that risk. See, the scriptures talk about fake faith, plastic faith. It describes three different kinds. In James 2:17, he says, faith without works is dead. So there's a kind of faith that can look like faith, but it's not alive. It's dead faith. Later, it'll be described as a faith that bears fruit. Dead faith can't produce fruit, just like fake trees can't produce more fake trees. See, what he's saying there is that faith, that's real faith, will be accompanied by action. It will be shown in the way that people do their life, the way they engage in relationships, the way they handle their finances, the way that they deal with conflict and sin. In fact, it'll cause them to look different than anything else in society. So faith without works is dead faith. It's artificial faith. It's fake. Another faith that's talked about, that's a plastic faith, is demonic faith. Just a few verses later in James chapter 2, verse 19, he says, even the demons believe and shudder. It's interesting. He's using the same word. He's saying that there is a faith that can be dead, but looks like it's alive. There can be a faith that is the faith of the demons, that somehow they have faith, but their faith doesn't save. What is demonic faith? See, you could even say that demons have a more developed theology than probably most of us. And by that I mean they have a more clear understanding of who God is and what he's capable of. Just keep in mind, every time when Jesus, through the Gospels, encounters a demon and tells a demon what to do, what does the demon do? Whatever Jesus says. Immediate obedience. But when Jesus talks to people and tells them to do things, oftentimes they don't obey. Not right away. So there's something about the demons that understand intellectually who God is and what he's capable of. But what makes demonic faith fake faith is that while they may obey, they're not loyal to him. Their loyalty is to another. A demonic faith is one that says intellectually, I understand who God is and I have no problem with Jesus Christ rising from the dead. But their loyalty is to another, whether that's themselves or something else. And so real faith is a faith that demonstrates loyalty. Real faith is a faith that is accompanied by action. And the third demonstration of fake faith that we see in the scriptures is what I would describe as vain faith. In Matthew 7, you see Jesus describing in the Sermon on the Mount the ways in which the people of the kingdom of God are to act versus the others. And he talks about those that as religious leaders would fast, the way that they would fast, that they would make their physical adornment, they would look and appear as those who were fasting. Why? So that others would recognize, wow, look at them. Man, look how spiritual they are. They're so faithful. Or that they would pray in a way that would be loud and long with fancy words and sound just right. Why? So people would go, man, you hear them pray? Those are some spiritual warriors there. Man, so impressive. Or that they would give in such a way that it would be noticeable that how generous they are. Look at how generous. And Jesus is condemning that kind of behavior. He's saying that kind of faith that is done in such a way that it would show and bring attention to the person so that they would receive this praise from other men, that's vain faith. That's not saving faith. It's not real faith. And he says that they'll get their reward. There'll be a people that are praised by man, and they'll get exactly what they get, which is vain, empty praise that results in nothing. So you've got vain faith. You've got demonic faith, and you've got dead faith. These are all counterfeit, plastic faith options. But there's only one real faith. And it's the counter to all of these. Real faith results in risky obedience. Real faith results in a demonstrated loyalty to Christ. Real faith does it not so that it can receive praise and honor, but does it humbly without any expectation of notice. It's a humble faith. It's a dependence, but it's active. And real faith requires risky obedience and will result in ruckus worship, just like what we saw here. Because the litmus test for real faith, like how do you know, is my faith real or is it fake? Well, you can first of all look at these other examples of faith and say, is this why I do what I do? Do I like to look the part? Do I like to look like a good Christian, but I really don't like to do Christian things? I don't really want, my heart's not in it. Well, that might be evidence that you're tending towards a faith without works. That you want to appear the part, like a whitewashed tomb that looks good on the outside but has death on the inside. Or maybe you want to look the part and appear to be faithful, but your loyalty is clearly to someone else or something else. Or maybe you want to look the part, but you're only looking the part because it feels good as people think you're really spiritual. And you're only looking the part so you can build yourself up. These would be examples of fake faith. The litmus test of real faith is risk. Taking risk. That's what we see here. They're saying, I not only intellectually believe God is who he's revealed himself to be in the Word, but I also am willing to do something about it that could cost me. I'm willing to act in a way that could bring me harm. It could bring me loss. It could ultimately bring me the loss of my life. But I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to take that risk. And so we have to be a people that avoid living under the illusion that our faith is real when it's really fake. Paul warns Timothy about this. If you were to turn to 2 Timothy, his last letter to Timothy before he's going to give up his life for this faith and is taking the ultimate risk. He writes to Timothy and says, but understand that in the last days there will come times of difficulty. For people will be lovers of self, lovers of money, proud, arrogant, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, heartless, unappeasable, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not loving good, treacherous, reckless, swollen with conceit, lovers of pleasures rather than lovers of God. And what Paul says, having the appearance of godliness, but denying its power, avoid these people. That there are going to be more and more people that have the appearance of godliness, the appearance of faith. They're going to look like a real Christian, but they're going to deny the power of Christ because they're not going to live his way. And Paul tells Timothy, avoid these people. We have to ask, are we these people? That's an important question. What determines that you're not one of these people? Risk. Are you willing to live in a way that's risky?